We're sitting here today with Amy Buchanan Fitzgerald, who is the granddaughter of Joni Hooker, which makes you the
great-granddaughter of
Percy
Percy.
Threadgill and Ethel. Okay. And many of us, of course, remember Joni at the square dancing hall, at the one up above with where your dad
Yeah.
where your dad lives now, your mom used to live. Okay. And of course, Joni really ran a great square dance hall, and she and Louise Hensley
Yeah.
would sit out there, and she would be selling the Mountain Dew and the potato chips. Well, that made Louise Hensley's life. She just loved that. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background? I know you traveled the world as a young person, so what were you thinking, what was going on, and what brought you back here?
So my dad got a job overseas, and my mom was 7 months pregnant when he took that job. So I was born overseas and grew up over there, and we moved a lot. So I was used to moving every 2 years, which made me feel like I didn't have a home base. But in the back of my mind, I always knew that Grandma was here at Cattail, and that Cattail was the closest thing I had to home, even when I was not here. So we used to come back for summers, and I would meet up with my cousins, the Hookers. They would come from Texas. And so I have a lot of core memories from childhood that are here, even though I didn't actually live here. So it was so nice to spend time. And then it was nice when that part of our lives was over and we were done traveling, we knew immediately where we were going to go. So we came here.
And then, of course, at some point you got married, right, to
Mhm.
Thomas. And so what about the community made you stay here and be here? And you didn't have to be here. You had this whole world background, right? So, but here you are. So why is that?
Yeah, so when we first moved here, it felt, I was a preteen, so I wanted to go somewhere where there was more action and something else happening, so I spent a lot of time planning to get away from Burnsville and Cattail. And then as soon as I made my way out, I immediately realized how much I wanted to get back. Unfortunately, it took my parents getting sick and my mom passing to realize I wanted to live here all the time. So we actually moved into this house, the Red House,
right?
just weeks before my mom passed.
Oh.
So, but there had been so many times in transition, like, after college or between apartments where I got to come back here and live. And then even Tom and I, when we were looking for a house in Weaverville, we stayed here for 6 months in this house. And I remember every time we've been here, we think like, oh, that's some of the happiest memories we have. So it's so sweet for us to be living here now as a family and making those memories of childhood with Evie in this
And of
house.
course you have your beautiful Evie, and you've gotten heavily involved. I mean, you are the Parkway Playhouse. So how did that come about? What drew you to that?
So ironic, when I grew up in Spain, my mom and I were involved in a small community theater.
No.
And that was where we found our community because we
How
were
cool.
showbiz girls.
Mhm.
So we were doing that, and then of course when we moved, we lost that connection. And when we moved here, my mom said, "Oh, there's a theater, we should get involved." And we went by and they said, "Sorry, we don't have any programming for kids." And I was like, man, what a shame. So that kind of part of my life just kind of faded away. And then I got an email notification or saw something on social media that said that they had a kids camp at the theater. And I was like, I wonder if Evie would like to do that. So I was very specific not to put pressure on her and, not to say like, oh, well, I loved it, so you're going to love it. You're going to be great. Get out there, sing. So I just said, if you enjoy it, great. And she loves it. She wants to sign up for everything. Sometimes I have to slow her down and be like, how much can we do, But so she's in 3 shows at least this year, and she just absolutely loves it. And then I was asked to join the board, which was great because I felt like that's a place where you can make a really impactful change. So I work with an amazing group of people down there where we've suffered through COVID, tickets, you don't sell tickets to a show during COVID, so everything plummeted then, and I kind of came in 2021, 2022, after COVID was, fizzling out, but then we had to go through the storm. So we've been in a constant up and down, but that's the way it's always been, and we always joke like, well, that's showbiz,
And it seems to me that the Parkway Playhouse actually attracts a lot of people out of Cattail to actually participate.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about that.
Yes, it's wonderful because even though we are technically a professional theater because we pay our actors, we pay our crew, we're still a community theater. We want to work with the people that live in our community. We want to work with every age range. We already have a junior program, and now we're working on doing a senior program, and even going to senior homes and performing. You know, there's so much outreach you can do for every age group, and it's just, it's a great way to help kids learn how to read, taking direction. You know, that it's just like an endless amount of education opportunities in that space.
And can you tell us a little bit about some of the adult actors that are from this community?
Yes, so I think right before the storm, Glenn was playing the piano down at the community hall. And I think it's the last time I may have been at the community hall. I try to piece it together through pictures, but he was playing the piano, and it, you know, it sounded like something on Main Street at Disney, and Evie and Tom and I were like, Glenn! And so then he starts telling us his history, and he's you know, an ex-drama teacher, so I'm like, you've got to come down and see me at Parkway Playhouse. So we finally convinced him, and we got to do 2 shows together last year, and we had so much fun. Did you get to see both of the shows he was in?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yes, really good stuff.
He's an incredible actor.
Yeah.
And it's been so fun. You know, the theater bug can bite you, but it can also bite you at so many different stages. It's obviously already bitten Glenn multiple times, but to be there for it to bite him again, you know, and kind of pull him out of Cattail and be involved, it's fun to watch him grow.
And then you've met Megan Weber, right, who lives way up the mountain.
Yep, and Megan's going to be in her first show this year.
And is she singing? Is that singing? Oh, good.
And I got to see her during auditions, and she was amazing.
Yeah. Now, we did mention Helene, and these videos are not meant to be Helene videos, but tell us a little bit about, you were here, you were physically here, okay, sitting on your porch when the big landslide over the Seacrest Cats event happened, Malvin's, right? And so, what happened to the community at that point? What did you see going on, evolving?
Well, I think looking back on it now, I saw what I always knew I would see, which was that no matter what happened, we would come together. You know, we would find a way to help each other. I remember not feeling panicked at all because I just knew that we had a job to do, and there were people coming to help us, and everyone was gonna get, I knew that I needed to be the one getting organized and writing a list, and everyone kind of found their thing to do. But, you know, I realized that first day when Andrew Harrington hiked up, and we're just meeting each other for the first time. Hi, our grandparents were friends, you know. But you just realize, like, once the internet goes away, you can't hide in your house anymore. You know, if you want to communicate, we were coming out, we were meeting at a central location every day and showing up for each other and caring more about each other than anything else, you know, and just getting ourselves supplies and getting the people that needed to evacuate out safely.
And tell us a little bit, was there something like 92 or something in the 90s? People got helicoptered out of here?
I think it was 70 something, and then there were like 22 dogs, at least 7 or 8 cats, and a bird. Yeah.
And a bird.
Yeah. And we had the same helicopter crew come back day after day because they knew we were here and we had more people that we were trying to access. So even the relationship we built with those guys who live in Durham, you know, they came back for us. We were connected, and I told everybody, it's nobody else that shows up for you except your own neighbors. At the end of the day, when things go really wrong in such a physical way, you know, in a climate disaster like that, it's your neighbors that are showing up for you.
And speaking of neighbors, right, your mom, Karen, you know, we miss her dearly, and she was, of course, a fundamental aspect here, holding many things together, including the board of directors, all kinds of stuff like that. And but she goes way back. She was a clogger, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit?
I think she was kind of like me. I think they lived in Florida, you know, but she always came here during summers, so she has this whole like base camp childhood here that includes, being on the clogging team and all kinds of stuff at the dance hall and horseback riding and all of those things.
I have some pictures. There's be some pictures on the webpage of Karen and some of the other folks at her age, very young, wearing beautiful little pinafore dresses, clogging at a competition. Have you seen those?
Is it the picture with Tina Fox, I think?
I think so.
Yeah.
So clogging at Cattail used to be a pretty much fun thing, right?
And there's some pretty fun pictures of my mom clogging at her wedding.
Well,
she kicked off her shoes, holding up her dress,
and gosh.
Clogging. Yeah.
And that's one of the things we hope to return to with the restored community hall that you know is coming along, and we'd like to see that kind of dancing again and square dancing. Of course, Joe Baden calls square dances, right?
Yeah.
So we have all the local talent here, live bands. We can do that. There's all that music in the community down in Pensacola. So there's a lot going on here now. Again, you know, for sure. Well, thank you very much. I
Yeah.
think this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And thank you for gracing our webpage.
Yes, thank you for having me.